Good evening. Welcome to the third working session for the City Council Finance Committee. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Can we have roll call, please?
Dishman,
Present.
Selby,
Present.
McIntosh,
Present.
Green,
Here.
Garrett, Gillian,
Here.
Basham,
Here.
Mason,
Here.
Powell.
Here.
8 present.
All right. And just a little housekeeping. I'm just going to say that this is a working session, and because it's a working session with the focus on receiving information from the department heads here and receiving that information and being focused on it, we will not be taking public comment tonight. However, there was public comment last night at the public hearing before the meeting. We will welcome and encourage public comment at our final Finance Committee meeting, which is going to be on the 23rd. And then, of course, for adoption, you'll be free to speak when the ordinance is considered for adoption. So we will put that aside and get started. Our first budget that we'll be looking at tonight is the street department. It is on page 22 of your 25 budget and page 20 of your 2026 budget. And we will welcome Mr. Leach to the stand. Okay.
Good evening, Adam Leach, city engineer.
Good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Mr. Leach, just while
Thank
you're
you.
doing that, in one of the salary ordinances, I can't remember which one it was, and it could have been an old one, prior to the transition of you being there was a salary ordinance for the city engineer and a salary ordinance for the street superintendent. Are you both of those?
I am, as defined in ordinance, the city civil engineer is also the director of public works, which is the director of public works. So I am simultaneously all those things, but I only got paid for one as a city employee. And I only currently get paid by WSP.
Okay, so, but you're paid by the city, and just for clarification.
I do not get paid by the city at all
Okay,
currently.
all right, thank you. It was just both those were salary ordinances are in there, but I know that sometimes salary ordinances are in there, even if we're not filling that position. So thank you for clarifying that for me. We'll start on page 20. Let's see. For local roads and streets, the capital projects is down 1.3 million from last year. Is that accurate, or?
The 1.3 million was put in as a bit of a placeholder, which was dependent upon some of the timing for our federal projects. Our federal projects require a 20% match. The projects that we have incoming are basically Tillotson and McGuire, which is more of a 2027 project. But both of those are anticipated at least $1 million match. We're currently using those funds for Columbus Avenue, which is a 100% match project. But that is because it was more than that money. There's reimbursement coming in. It takes 2 to 3 months for us to be reimbursed on those.
All right. And you have other services and charges and capital projects listed in there twice. Is that an error, or is that?
It should only be listed once.
Other services and charges for $1 million and capital projects for $500,000, other services and charges for $1 million and capital projects for $500,000 on page 20 of the proposed budget.
It should only be in there once. So
Okay,
the
so-
total budget for local roads and streets should not exceed 1.5 million.
Thank you. All right. Any questions over local roads and streets from any of the other members of council? Okay. We will move on to street MVH. That's page 22 on your budget. So, let's see, you've moved all the positions, a couple of different departments have done that, all the positions in one line item. Any rationale other than?
In general, it allows us flexibility. We don't have to change line items if I decide I need 3 mechanics instead of 2, or if I need, 3 equipment operators instead of 5 truck drivers. Also, we have a lot of varying positions within my department.
Does that cause issue with the union?
No.
Okay,
The salary ordinance defines their pay rate, not the budget.
so you could have, and I'm just, again, clarification, it's just for learning. You could have someone who is a truck driver one day, and then they're a mechanic, as long as they're qualified the next day, and they just seamlessly transition to that?
Well, they would have to be promoted, so we would have to follow the contract guidelines for posting the job. They would be, if they were qualified, they would be interviewed, and then they would be offered the job,
Okay,
if they were qualified. If they're not qualified, it will be posted outside.
all right.
And that, thank you. And that has historically been the practice.
It's all done per contract.
Yes. I mean that they've all been listed in the. okay.
Right. Prior to, I believe we started that in 2022. We moved it all under similar to what police and fire do.
Good. Thank you.
Okay. Other insurance, what gets paid out of that for your street department?
Essentially, because MVH, Local Roads and Street, all my department is separate from the general fund, we have to pay our own insurance. So that is basically it's called inland marine, but that's our auto insurance, equipment, buildings. We pay tort claims out of that, injuries, all that sort of thing.
All right. And then capital equipment under MVH went up $40,000.
Yep, that is reflective. We, in the little handout I gave you, we're intending to replace one of our trucks. Our oldest truck in our snowplow fleet is a 2012. It's about 13 years old. Really, we should be aiming for about a 12-year replacement on basically our capital fleet. This will kind of get us caught up a little bit. We will be replacing it with a tandem, which is slightly more expensive. Tandem costs about $215,000. The remainder of those funds go to paying debt service on trucks that we bought 3 years ago for same thing, replacement.
Okay. Going to your budget performance report for June 30th, your overtime was 75% gone halfway through the year. Is that seasonal? I guess that's because you guys probably do.
We pick up most of our overtime January to March. Those tend to be the snow months when we're running, sometimes it's a 24/7 operation. Well, usually not 7 days a week, but a 24/3 operation at worst. So we pick up quite a bit, basically January to March. And then with paving, we run over a few hours here and there. So it's really, historically, we have stuck, at least in my 4-year look back, fairly close to budget for a year of about 90,000.
And then, did you add the line item repair and maintenance of equipment this year?
No, it was in there last year,
You just
so.
funded it this year?
Should have been funded last year. This is a bit due to the system that we use. New World only allows so many numbers. We use that for purchase of basically small items of equipment, so jackhammers, generators, that type of thing. Then there is another repair and maintenance one, which is $170,000, $180,000, something like that. I'll find a line item for it. Let's see, there's equipment repair. Let's see, yep, repair and maintenance is the one that we actually use for parts. That's 422,133. That one is up a bit as well, mostly because parts are up a bit as well.
Okay. And again, going back to the budget performance report from June, so at that point in the year, you'd had $22,000 amended into your budget line items. Do you know where that money came
Sale of
from?
equipment. We auction, as per Indiana State Code, all of our equipment through an online auction. Any item that a department auction comes back to its budget. Usually
And you
it's
would have
capital
put that
equipment.
into salaries and wages?
The $22,000 should have been put back in capital equipment.
Okay, because it went into salary and wages. And then just a few tools, you amended money into that.
There was a change in the contract that increased the mechanic's tool allowance from $500 to $1,000, so.
All right. Unemployment, it was at 80%, is that,
We don't
I
have
know
any
that-
control. We've had to, we've had some employees were terminated for their general substance problems and/or accidents, so.
okay. And then, training, travel, and fees was nearly depleted by June 30th. Is that something that you do at the beginning of the year as far as training, or?
It just depends. Typically, my one foreman will go to road school. The rest of that is mostly spent on CDL training. Because our pay is relatively low, we have to train our own drivers. So each driver we send to CDL training costs us about $2,750.
And what's the process? I know that the street department has taken up milling and paving in-house. What's the process of the training that goes into that?
We've had, basically, for all the new equipment, the equipment vendor has brought their trainers out, and our employees train with their equipment trainers. They've also been to see other operations, and I have quite a bit of operational experience, so I'm usually there at the startup of the year, getting them back into the hang of things.
Okay. Was that a question I saw on you?
Yes, I do.
On your brow?
Thank you. The professional, going back to the budget performance report regarding the line item, professional services, I noticed last year we budgeted $50,000. Similar this year, 0% of that has been spent. What is that?
Professional services basically covers things that I am not qualified to do, so I am not a great attorney. I'm also not a licensed surveyor. We've used it for arborists, that type of thing, so it covers a multitude of things.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Well, yeah, good, thank you.
And then, office supplies was only at 7% in June. Is that,
We've had a significant change. The former administration had entered into some very long-term leases on copier equipment, and we were spending something on the order of about $3,000 a year to lease a piece of equipment. Last year, we purchased all of ours, so that's been amended down. We are going to use those funds this year to buy a new sign printer to do larger signs. We have a small one that cuts vinyl right now that we use for street markers, but now we'll be able to do up to a, and don't quote me on it, I think it's a 50-inch sign, so.
Smart.
go right ahead. Councilperson Golian?
So we talk about the pavers and, you know, the paving, and we know that they're doing, you know, you're doing more of that. Were those, how much more were those compensated, the people who were trained to do that? I assume that their compensation goes up when they're added, when the responsibilities were added?
We did add a heavy equipment operator to the salary, or excuse me, a paving equipment operator to the salary ordinance. You guys voted on that, I believe, so they are the highest paid non-supervisory employee that is not a mechanic or, you know, but they're hourly, so they went to $25 an hour, so they are compensated.
You're saying that's one person, though? Is that what you're saying? Or are you
Yes.
saying that, okay. But how many people are doing the paving?
Generally, a paving crew takes, on the machine, we usually have a foreman, two laborers that run the wings, one person operates the paver, one person operates a roller. The roller operator is a heavy equipment operator. They got promoted into those jobs, so that's their general qualifications of running a roller. The laborers use a loop and a shovel just like they would with patching, so that's kind of been the only change.
Okay.
Federal and state grants on the Form 2 R129, it was down 500,000, or is that a grant that we had before and now it's depleted, or?
Typically, we would go after the community crossing matching grant, which is 50/50 grant, because of basically our requirements to meet our federal match for these federal projects and the magnitude of the projects that we're doing. Tillotson being the primary one, we don't have enough match money, so I can't say we're going to get 50% of something that we're not going to have.
Sure.
Was there a question on there? Okay.
No, I'm just,
And then transfers in and transfers out, there was 1.5 million. What is that as far as Form 2 income?
Generally, those, it's, once again, our accounting software, those are cash transfers. We do have, motor vehicle highway has a $3 million cash balance. We're the only department in the city that carries its own cash.
Yeah.
So we have to show where that money comes from, so that's transfer in from cash to balance the book.
And then, last on street MVH, other receipts on the Form 2 is down about almost $500,000, 449,000. What is other receipts and why is it down?
Other receipts can be anything from reimbursements from insurance. Some types of grants come in as a other receipt if they're not a state or federal grant. That's really kind of a Greg questioned, but that's how it gets, we have to account for everything, so State Board of Accounts likes it, they can account.
All right. Any questions for motor vehicle highway?
I just have one more, sorry.
Absolutely.
I just noticed that your uniforms went down by like $10,000. Is that something that just depends on who's being hired in or what's going on with
Generally,
that?
most of our employees try to buy all their stuff. We force them to use their uniform allowance by November at the latest, so usually about October, they'll spend out most of it. And of course, we're also down 5 employees, so when you're short employees, you don't have the uniform allowance.
And so now we'll move on to your last category, MVH restricted. And that is on page 24 of our 2026 budget. Salary and wages are, who's being paid out of the restricted funds?
So the state of Indiana allows us to pay signal technicians out of the restricted funds because that is a signal activity. Those are the folks that maintain all the signals in the city. They currently have 2 employees that get paid out of that.
Okay. Hold on one second. Are there any questions about that? I didn't think salaries could be paid out of the restricted funds.
They can be so long as it is for signal and sign activity.
Okay.
And we've been doing it for the past 4 years, and there's been no findings from SBOA in that
I'm
regard.
holding one. I'm holding a finding for 2023 about paying salaries out of MVH restricted. And it says it's a repeated finding. So, I just want to make sure we're being compliant with. I just want to make sure we're being compliant. Pardon me?
So what does it say exactly?
It's from 2023, and it says it's a repeated audit finding. Hold on one second, I just had it. Motor Vehicle Highway Restricted Fund, the same comment appeared in prior reports. Internal controls, restricted funds were insufficient to ensure compliance with Indiana code. The city used incorrect fund numbers, that's not to do with it. The city failed to post at least 50% of funds received from the state motor vehicle highway account to the motor vehicle highway account restricted fund as required the year 2023. And then it goes on to say, the motor vehicle highway restricted fund was incorrectly used to pay for employees' expenses related to signal, electricians, and sign crews, paint and sign materials, signal equipment, tree removal expense, striping and road marking expenses, health insurance, employee uniforms and equipments rather than for construction, reconstruction, and preservation of the city's highways. And so then it goes on to cite the code that says, except as provided in subsection Ds for funds distributed to a city or town from the motor vehicle highway account, the city or town shall use at least 50% of the money of the construction, reconstruction, and preservation of cities and towns' highways. But there is a finding, and it says it's recurrent, so,
From 2023, there was not one for 2024 or 2025, to my knowledge.
well, the 2025 as a State Board of Account hasn't been done and won't be done until next year, and then the 2024 is in process now, so we won't know if it's a finding. But I'm just saying,
Three speaks for itself.
we all received the 2023 State Board of Account report, and it says that it's a repeated finding. So that's just something that we need to keep in mind, because I don't, I want us to use the funds we have available to us, but I also want us to follow the state code, so. Any questions for motor vehicle highway restricted? All right, thank you very much.
Well,
Okay. So the next department is the Parks Department. It's on page 26 of our 2025 budget and page 25 of our 2026 budget. Good evening, Mr. Malone.
Good evening, Carl Malone, Park Superintendent.
let's all get our bearings about us. All right. I'll start out. Is the foreman, is that employee actually work out at Prairie Creek?
Currently, right now, that
Okay,
person,
so the foreman is paid for out of Parks but works at Prairie Creek.
correct. And it's been that way the last 5 years.
Yeah,
It was done right before
okay.
I started.
All right, summer recreation funds went down by $119,000.
Correct.
Is that gonna, I mean, obviously it will, is that gonna affect the kids?
Well, if you look on top surface, yes, but our board is prepared to sit down with the mayor and talk about edit funds going back into the line items that we're going, where we're going to fall short at.
Okay,
So we've had conversation about that as well.
all right. And then, Tui Pool Swim Program was unfunded completely on here. Hold on, let me get my eyes on.
Okay.
Pardon me. All right, so, Tui Pool Swim Program, yeah, it was cut $4,000 to nothing. So is that a swimming class that we're not gonna be funding anymore?
It was a swimming class that was proposed, and we still had the swimming class, but we did it through grants, through
Oh, awesome.
Shannon Powers and her efforts to provide those swimming classes. And from what I understood, they had a real good turnout in terms of the numbers, but she was able to secure some funds through grants and Cardinal Swim Club.
Thank you, that's,
I think previous years. we had-
May I follow up on that? Yes, thank
Absolutely.
you. Is that granting soft money and will expire at a given point, or do you foresee it being an ongoing grant opportunity?
Well, I know the last 2 years, it's been in our budget, and we would like to see it be long-term. Shannon is kind of working on that individually as a board member, seeking the funds and going outside finding grants.
Uh-huh.
So we don't have it, it's not in our GL line item for swim classes.
Yep, okay.
What we have is
That's-
the program budget is what you see, and that's where most of our program dollars go to the programs that we provide.
Great.
okay.
Thank you.
And then skate park, expenses were zeroed out, so $40,000 removed. Is that because the project has been completed, or?
It has been completed, correct? And that money was earmarked for structures around in and around the skate park.
All right. A side note on that, have you been contacted about vandals or anything, or things like that at the park? Just because it's near my district, I've been contacted, just worried that people aren't following rules and things along those lines. What type of oversight or liability do we have in situations like that? Or what should the council members direct people who are encountering things like that? Should they call the police, or is that a police call?
Well, we have signs that's posted that talks
Okay.
about the behavior while visiting the skate park.
Okay,
And if it's within those guidelines on the sign, then yes, we would definitely contact the police and see if we can get some involvement. May not always end up in an arrest, but it may end up in a social conversation between the kids, if it's teenagers and the parents.
all right.
Or typically, we get a phone call like left on the voicemail, and then we'll see it first thing in the morning.
Okay, thank you. And then, looking at the budget performance report for June 30th, 0% spent for program director. Is that position filled? Is it going to be filled?
Yes, we just recently had that position filled with Mark White. He's probably been on the job about 2 weeks now.
Okay,
So that was the reason why that number.
all right. And your TUI pool related items in the budget performance, but that makes sense because it would be June, and I don't know when the pool opened. So,
Yeah, opened in May, closed in September, just last
Okay.
week. And we yet to get all the numbers from TUI over to us, and so
All
we
right.
normally zero that line out as we get the numbers from TUI pool, well, from YMCA.
all right.
They're the managers of the pool itself.
All right, and then, congratulations, you're one of the only funds that actually increased their miscellaneous revenue. You were up in, Parks and Rec receipts for $100,000 estimated, and then other receipts about $100,000 too. So thank you for doing the things you're doing to make the
Yeah.
park successful and help offset those funds.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate that, and look forward to continuing to work with the council. We got a lot of work left in our parks. 2026, we look to do some other improvements in some of the other parks, and so we're going to try to be creative and find funds to get those things to happen.
Councilman Basham, you have a question?
Yes, could you talk to us about the lodge at McCullough Park and how that is doing as a revenue
Yes.
builder?
Yes. Prior to the renovation, community development got with parks and earmarked some dollars to make some renovations to the cabin, which consisted of total outside structure repairs to the chimney, caulking, inside, new flooring, kitchen appliances installed and applied. And our revenue from cabin 6 increased within the first month. It's rented almost every weekend. And so, yeah, it's been a great asset to the community to see the upgrade there in McCullough.
Beautiful,
Thanks.
beautiful.
Any other questions for Mr. Malone?
Comment.
Oh, comment, absolutely.
I'd like to commend you on the, getting the lights out at Heacon Park. You know, those people out there been on me
Yeah,
about
yeah.
lights
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah.
That's a plus. You
It's
get
part of
kudos for
the
that.
community there that's always had those working lights. And after speaking with Councilman Mace, a couple other program directors that had events out to the park, they kind of echoed the same, just having them there for safety reasons and for the community. So we were able to find some funds to just replace some of the bulbs. We still got to renovate change them out, the LED lighting for next year. But for right now, we were able to just change the bulbs out and provide some lighting, so.
Good deal.
All right. Anyone else? All right, thank you very much.
all
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Okay. The next is Prairie Creek Reservoir.
Yep.
And that is on page 30 of your 2026 budget and 31 of your 2025 budget.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. One second, Mr. Marshall, I am
Just a minute.
trying to find what I can't find. All right. So, not a whole lot of questions for you. I will start though. Prairie Creek. Part-time guards went down. Is that, part-time lifeguards at, obviously do you know what the hours are? Or is it, are we cutting positions? Are we cutting time for offering lifeguards out at PCR?
No, so that was previously, we previously had paid guards out there, and that was shifted 2 years ago to beach attendants. And those are paid out of the part-time, so that was a
All right.
carryover that didn't get corrected, so that's reflected in the part-time line.
And security went down? Is that accurate?
Yeah, so the security line was previously in there when we were looking at contract security. We've got that in-house now, so that's part of the part-time line as well.
All right, thank you. Mowing equipment, where did that go? It went down by $48,000. Is that, did we buy,
I believe it was last year or the year before we purchased equipment, so yet again, not expecting a capital expenditure for equipment.
all right. And you've estimated that your receipts, your miscellaneous revenue off of Form 2, your receipts will go down, you're estimating about $139,000?
Correct.
Just Okay, and then, let's see. Your overall budget is going down about $139,000 in regards to Form 2 miscellaneous revenue. How's that gonna work, you know, I mean, how is that gonna affect your overall ability to provide services and,
It's gonna be tough. We've made some decisions, and we're gonna have to probably hold back on some capital expenditures. As I think most of you know, we've been trying to improve the docks out there.
Yeah.
So floating piers for this year, we don't have any scheduled purchase. That was a pretty significant expenditure. Some of the other reductions, we may see a reduction in some of our labor. But that's, we're gonna have to get creative on how we balance the budget out there.
and question, Mayor Ridenour in his press conference talked about hiring freeze. Will that affect Prairie Creek, or is that just for general fund employees? Do you know?
I don't know that answer.
Okay, all right. Any questions for Mr. Marshall regarding Prairie Creek Reservoir? Mr.
You're-
Basham?
Thank you, yes.
Sorry.
Do you have any anticipated retirements or retirements that would impact that work, that freeze?
I don't know at this time.
Okay.
President Mason?
The horseback trails and off-road, are they suspended?
Correct.
Okay, and how much of a savings is that creating?
The maintenance-wise, there's really not a lot of savings. There is some general maintenance that does occur on that side, but that is one of them that you see hit the revenue line as well. So we anticipate that one will roughly be a wash. The money that we lost will probably cover the expenses that we saved.
Okay, do you foresee maybe reinstating that at some point in time?
That would be at the discretion of the landowner, which is the water company. So do not know at this time.
Is there a
No,
follow-up?
no, I'm
Any
not
questions? Councilperson
get into
Salvi?
that
Yeah,
topic.
it kind of goes with, you kind of asked the question, but I do want to know percentage-wise, how much of your 2026 budget is for maintenance versus capital improvement?
I would have to add those numbers up and look at that. I think you guys have got the same budget I've got, but I don't have that broke down as capital versus maintenance per se.
Okay, so let me ask this. Like, just on top of your head, do you know of major capital improvements you're planning to do for 2026? And what could they be at Prairie Creek?
I don't know of any major ones that we've got planned. We've got some that are open that we continue to work on, shelter
Okay.
improvements.
Okay.
We've got some campground improvements that we're looking at that are being requested of us, and that's an ongoing project as well.
But nothing major
Nothing that we've planned at this time.
at this time?
Anything else? All right, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Last department that we'll be covering tonight is Beech Grove Cemetery, and that is on page 29 of your 2025 budget and 27 of your proposed 2026 budget. I will let everyone have an opportunity to get to those pages, and then we'll start. Okay, all right. Let's see. The alarm system went up about 11,000, a little bit more than $11,000 out there. Is that
You
just
say
because?
went up?
I thought so. Let
It should have went down, actually.
me see.
We bought a new system last year. And, the
Oh, yeah, it did go down.
the service
Go
fees.
down, okay.
I'm trying to find it here now.
That's what I meant. It went down. And so that would be, I was gonna ask, did we?
2020, oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You were correct. It
Yeah,
went down.
2025, we have 14,000 budgeted.
Mm-hmm.
And, we had purchased a new system, cameras and everything. And, this 2,500 should be covered.
Is that, and that's due to the new system that costs less or costs less to operate? Or will that be able to provide the same level of security that we were?
I don't understand.
I was asking, since there's such a significant decrease in the alarm line item, will that still be
Yes.
suffice? Okay,
The, last year's, for the 2025 budget, was the cost of the system itself.
oh, okay.
The cameras and everything. So the $2,500 for this year is going to be the monthly service, actually, it's quarterly service
Okay.
fees, and we got 2 locations that's on 2 different. We got the office and the garage area.
Okay,
So they come on 2 different bills, but the 2,500
all right,
should cover the service fees.
thank you.
Last year, it was just to cover the equipment.
And looking at the, moving to the budget performance report, uniforms, on June the 30th were only, that line item was only 4% spent.
Well, and it's kind of the same as Adam was saying a little bit ago. Everybody waits till the end of the year. We just had an employee yesterday come in, and it was, I think he had $399 left, and he spent it. They wait until then, and it's kind of smart. They can wait till then and see if they need their winter gear. If they need something in the summer, they can go buy it.
Yeah.
If your winter time, you're out in the cold, and it's more important to get it. So there'll be some more of that spent here
Okay.
shortly.
And that happens, and that's just one of the things we follow up on.
Uh-huh.
Usually there's a
And it's a good,
It's good to know.
yeah,
it's a
absolutely.
good thing to remember, because just about anybody that's working out in the city or anywhere like that, in the winter times, when they're probably going to be when they're buying more clothing. So if you see that, that might be,
And it kind of explains the difference between overtime in the parks, which you'll have overtime bloom and thrive during the summer, and streets is when we're plowing, so yes, that makes absolute sense. Tool allowance in June was 133% spent. Is that
we,
a big, or was
well,
it a big year for tools, or?
when they signed the contract, last year it was 750. Well, this year they signed the contract, so that moved up to 1,000.
Okay,
Well, he had already, that's where the extra, 33%?
yeah,
Come from that. And same way on the clothing, it went up $1,000, I think, and that was due to the contract.
okay. And then the only other comments I would make is that as of right now, unemployment is 0, or at least by last June, which that's a positive. I mean,
Well, and it is, and since I've been there at one time, we did have an employee that filed for unemployment. And so to me, it's good to keep a little in there to cover it in case, you never know, they're going to let it slide through or something. If not, if it's not in there, we're going to have to come back and appropriate or do something.
okay,
So if you got a little bit in there, and if we don't use it, ours is non-reverting, so it's going to roll right back over.
yeah.
You know.
Oh, yeah. And then, Form 2, your receipts are up $5,000, but your overall budget is down about $8,000. And so, again, you're going to be asked to do more for less, unfortunately, in the upcoming year in regards to your miscellaneous revenue. So we do appreciate you looking at all the different ways that you can save money and still provide that level of service that we get out there.
And we do. We've been doing a lot more in-house, especially when it gets to the bench repairs.
It seems to be happening more and more often.
And I just explained in our meeting tonight, equipment. We've got some really old lawnmowers in there, but the last 3 years, we purchased 4 new ones so far. And these old ones are costing us so much for just parts. I mean, you got to order the parts. We've got $600 and some in belts coming in that they had to order for an old mower, that if we had updated the equipment, you'd be saving that money. But when you're out on 140 acres, you're going to go through that. And the big expense this year has been parts for the old mowers. So I'm hoping we can continue to at least get 1 more year. But if we would get 3 more new mowers and put the others in the auction, we would be in good shape. And the new mowers, you got a 2-year warranty on them. So there's 2 years that, other than your maintenance, most of the big stuff's covered.
when you're repairing the fence, because it's a historic, it has that preservation landmark notation, is it more, is it more expensive to repair
Yeah.
that fence? I know that in the historic district, repairs and things along those lines cost more because of the limitations of materials and different things along those lines.
It is a lot more expensive with it being on the National Historic Registry. When you get a contractor in, and one contractor that had come in and repaired, he let one of our employees come out. It's actually a part-time employee, regular part-time that stays all year, and worked with them a few days, kind of showed them. So far as if we got to do a whole reconstruction of an area, we've not got into that, but they've got it. They've repaired some pretty bad sections in the columns, and they're doing a really great job of doing that. And that's saving us, I think last month's meeting, I had it figured up, and what would have cost us between $10,000 and $15,000 to get repaired. We done it for between $1,500 and $2,000,
Wow.
doing it in the house.
Okay.
But when it gets to the major repairs,
Right.
then you gotta get the equipment in, you gotta have more people, so that's when we'll get contract.
Councilperson Gillian?
I just had a question. I see that you had a grant, looks like a $6,700 grant this year.
Yes.
What was that for and from whom, and will you have something like that next year, do you know?
Beech Grove Cemetery used to have it was a group, the Friends of Beech Grove.
Okay.
And when they folded, the money for that went to the Community Foundation because they didn't have nobody controlling it. And, I don't know if you call it dividends or what, but what our spendable amount we had some money in there, so the streets and roads inside the cemetery, never showed a name. Well, we found some original maps in there, and they're pretty cool if you ever want to come out and see them, because they're like 9 foot long, and they layer on top of each other where you can see the cemetery in layers. Well, all the streets had names back when they started in 1800s. So we, in the board, we worked on it for a few months and come up with a project to have, they're new signs, but they're more historic looking.
Uh-huh.
And we're actually putting names on all the roads in the cemetery.
Okay,
and,
all right.
The way they are.
Okay.
The roads that was added later on that didn't have a name, we picked names. One of the main ones was from a superintendent that was there 38 years. And so doing that. So if you drive through, you can see them.
Okay. Can I follow up on that?
Absolutely.
So you're saying that you basically kind of have an endowment fund? Do you get
Yeah.
dividends every year then from that? And so do you use that usually for projects like that, or do you put it into your capital, or do you put it into upkeep, or
It's
does it
gotta-
depend?
It's set up where it's got to be used for beautification
Okay,
of the cemetery.
Okay.
And that was the way the Friends of Beech Grove, when they still had a group formed. for
Would
it.
that include the fence? Would that be able to go toward that for beautification? I
Well,
know
yeah.
you've got a lot of work on it, but
It might,
just something to keep in mind maybe to
well,
look
yeah,
into. I don't know.
you're right. But there's not that, for what it earns a year, it's not that much. you might. you
So
might
this was
buy
over this was over some time, you mean, that you
Yeah.
had the 6,700?
That
Okay.
was-
Okay.
When I started 3 years ago, I think there was 2,600 in it, I think. I don't want to say exact, something like that. So you look at over 3 years, it gained another 4,000, so, which to me, that's not bad, but
Right.
as far as planning to,
Mhm.
we got a quote on the fence after I got there before we really started doing any repairs. And they get, unless they guesstimated, for the whole fence, it'd be $1 million to $1.5 million to fix it.
Yeah.
And we've came a long way with it so far, doing pieces here and there. So even if $6,700 like we spent there, wouldn't get very far. And We're figuring on one side, say along Kilgore side, not both sides of the fence. I think it's 100 foot, and the columns is basically $5,000 to repair.
That was a lot.
And that's if the contractors do it. So,
Councilperson Selvey.
Thank you. With the mowers, how many are you planning to buy this year?
excuse me?
How much do the mowers, the new mowers cost, and how much
Uh,
are you planning? Because I see 17,000. Would that be enough for to buy?
Last, excuse me, throat's dry. Last year, we bought another 52 inch, and they was right at 12,000. And I had 3 quotes, all of them was about the same.
Okay.
And we bought I think it was on the 2025 budget, or it could be we bought a smaller one to fit into between some of the
Yeah.
headstones where the big ones don't fit. I think it was around 8,000. If we get another 61 inch, they run up to more about 14 to 15,000.
Okay.
But included in that 17,000,
Yeah.
that also covers our weed eaters
Okay.
that ran every day, and usually probably in the summertime when we got seasonal help and everything, we probably got 6 to 8 weed eaters running all day long. And 50,000 headstones plus everything else to go
Okay.
around. So they do,
I'm glad you're buying something,
yeah,
I think
they
you
do
need
wear
it.
out, and the weed eaters, they're 400 to 500
I bet.
a piece.
Well, I didn't know, but,
So that's all in that 17,000 too.
okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for Beech Grove Cemetery? All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome,
Thank
thank
you
you.
very much. Mr. Wright, can you come up for just a second so I can clarify something? Just so I know as we move forward and plan on looking over the budget before we meet next week. And I'll let you get up here. Okay, the email that was sent out today, it talked about some of the department heads, because that's all we're discussing in these last 3 meetings, strictly department heads. Some of their salaries are far above 13%, 15% over what was adopted in the 2025 budget. 2025 budget, and I'm just clarifying so that we'll all have the right math, so that we can come back together and make sure we have this. The 2025 budget was the 2024 budget plus 1%, because that's what the administration told us to plan for. And so all the department heads, except Mr. Malone, because when I read his reductions, I transposed some numbers, and so we did correct that, and I didn't talk to the mayor, I actually talked to you in a public meeting and asked you to make sure that no one was negatively impacted. So I do appreciate that happened and Mr. Malone was made whole, because that was my error. But so the 2025 adopted budget was a 2024 plus 1%. And then you added 4% to the department heads, because that's all we're discussing right now. You added 4% to make our appointed officials, the department heads, get the 5% raise last year, correct?
Well, I mean, we had the, yes, I mean, we.
Yeah, I'm just asking for clarification, so I'll know, so we'll know. So what we should have, what should be the 4% added to is the 2025 budget, except for Mr. Malone, 2025 budget.
If I may,
Sure,
I think it was also the animal shelter superintendent as well as Beech Grove Cemetery superintendent.
no, it was,
And we can, and I'll confirm that.
okay, I do know that, and that's fine, If it was, then we still, they
I
were
think-
corrected.
I think that, but I'll confirm it.
And we have that in the
Yeah.
past budget too.
Sure.
But, so if we take the 2025 adopted budget, add 4% to that, and then add 4% to that, that's what we should have, if I'm correct. Is that the correct math? Because that would be, the 2025 is the 5%, 1% plus 4%, and then you're proposing to give them 4% on top of that.
Right.
So, and my question was, some of these line items, for instance, Mrs. Goddard, the HR, she's 6% total. So that doesn't make sense, because she would be 8% it would have been an 8% raise over what was adopted for 2025, and she's not there. So that's why there were some questions regarding some of the department heads had less than 8%, which is what we should be seeing if that's the math, that they were adopted 1%. You added 4% to bring them to 5 for this year, and then you're proposing to give them 4 more percent. So we should see an 8% spread in everyone but Mr. Malone. We should see an 8% jump in what was adopted in 2025 to what is proposed in 2026.
I think that's 9, 5, and, oh, I see what
because
you're
the
saying.
1% was in the-
One was already in there, sorry.
One was, and that, no, and that's why we're
Okay.
that's why we're talking it through, to make sure we're all on the same page. This is totally just to make sure we're all on the same page for when we come back together. So we should be able to say 8% on top of what was adopted in 2025 is what we're proposing for our department heads. We are not going to address because of the convoluted longevity, things along those lines. But because department heads are cut and dry, they don't get longevity, they don't get shift differentials, they don't get overtime, it's pretty cut and dried. And so the concern was, and I know that Mayor Ridenour wasn't here for those other two, but, and so I don't know if it was expressed correctly, but the concern wasn't necessarily that some of them were wrong, it's that some of them, even when we used that formula, 4% plus 4%, we were coming up with, for instance, 13% for the Channel 60, which, and then 15% for Mr. Tolby, and there were a couple others. And so, and some were below.
Probably
And
Beech Grove.
some were below, and so I just want to make sure, well, but I think Beech Grove was only 6%, so that wouldn't have been correct either. It's just, that would have been under what he was supposed to get.
Crunch the numbers.
Okay, I just,
And what,
Absolutely, and mistakes happen.
obviously,
Yeah.
obviously mistakes happen, and it could be just reading a number, transposing them, which is what
Right.
I did for Mr. Malone, last
and we'll
year.
have to redo the salary ordinance to make sure it's up to.
Okay. But I just wanted to make sure that all 9 of us had the same formula, and as we kind of go back into our separate corners this week and come back together next Tuesday, that we'll kind of have that same formula in mind and make sure that, one other thing that Mayor Ridenour didn't address in this is, were you able to discern where the money was coming from that was amended into these line items?
That was
I,
the attachment. It was sent with the email.
Oh, okay,
And if you take the numbers that are in this attachment, they should meet up with the numbers that were adjusted. Because it would be like a reimbursement. Like say a police car was wrecked and we got an insurance settlement. You would add that to the appropriations because technically you haven't used those appropriations.
Right.
So you would add
And I-
that to the appropriations. So these numbers should, like I say, mistakes happen, but.
did you send that to us as well, or will?
Yeah, this should have been
Was it the attachment? Okay.
PDF attached to it.
All right.
And if not.
I did not, I got that real late, so I didn't open it, but
You
yes.
can have my copy.
Well, thank you. All right. And, we're just trying to make sure that we're all on the same page and that we know where things are coming from and going to, making sure we all have the correct formulas. Are there any final questions for Mr. Wright or Mr. Wagley before we adjourn? I just want to remind all the Finance Committee members that if you have to email a question to the administration, to please courtesy to copy to all of us so that we all have the same information being received. All right. And having answered all those questions, we are finished for the night. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Seconded and done. Thank you.